The D-Day invasions of Normandy are arguably one of the most important and well-known events that happened in World War II and American military history. It has been popularized in countless movies and is one of the most talked about parts of the war decades later. However, did you know that the Allies did a similar invasion on the Italian peninsula 9 months before? Just like many aspects of the Italian front of the war, this invasion has often been forgotten. But in today's video, we will be discussing Operation Avalanche and the Allied invasion of Salerno, Italy. Italy came into conflict with the United States after declaring war on America on December 11th, 1941, after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. The two nations then faced off against each other on the battlefield when British and American soldiers invaded North Africa on November 8th, 1942. North Africa proved to be a relatively easy fight for the Allies, and they declared victory on May 13th, 1943, with the surrender of the Italian First Army. With pressure coming from the Soviets to open up a new front and the British claiming Italy was Europe's soft underbelly, the Allies invaded Sicily on July 9th, 1943, officially bringing the war to the Italian homeland. On July 25th, Italian leader and strongman Benito Mussolini was ousted from power by his own fascist party and was arrested, with most Italians agreeing that the war was over. However, at this point, Italy was no more than a German puppet state. 10 divisions, including six from the east, were diverted to fight in Italy. By August 17th, 1943, the Allies declared victory in Sicily, and on September 3rd, the Allies invaded the Italian peninsula. The Germans defended Italy well, slowly giving up land, creating a slow and bloody push up the narrow peninsula. While all this was going on, a civil war began on September 8th, 1943, between the Italian fascists and the partisans, with the fascists being allied with the Germans and the partisans being allied with the Anglo-Americans. The Allies planned a two-pronged invasion, with soldiers on September 3rd landing in Calabria, the toe of the boot, and then another force landing in Salerno on September 9th. The objective of the operation was to trap the German forces in southern Italy. British General Montgomery would lead the diversionary attack in Calabria, while the other Allied forces landed in Salerno and moved to capture the important port of Naples. The Allies wanted to completely surprise the Germans with their invasion of Salerno, so they did not preemptively bombard the German positions. However, this was not achieved, and the Germans knew about the invasion. When the Allied boats approached the shore, the Germans announced from a loudspeaker in proper English, "Come on in and give up. We have you covered." And even though the Italian government surrendered to the Allies, veteran German soldiers took their place in strategic positions, especially in the high mountainous terrain that surrounds the port of Salerno. When the Allied boats would land, the Germans planned to bombard the Allied landing party and send a counterattack to push the Allies back into the sea. Nonetheless, the Allies continued with the invasion, but as the invasion progressed, its severe flaws began to show. All four of the beach landing zones were chaotic and unorganized, as troops landed in the wrong spots and faced heavy German bombardment and resistance. The German Air Force also dominated the skies, as the heavy Allied bombers could only fight in the battle for a few minutes before having to return back to Sicily to refuel. Within a few hours, however, the Allies managed to secure the beachheads and begin to push inland. The German goal, however, was not to deny the Allied beach landing, but to inflict heavy casualties on them, to slow down their advance, and to make them pay a massive price. With the Allied forces disorganized and spread thin, many battles ended up being the Allies seizing the high ground and strategic sites, only to lose them to the Germans once they left the area, meaning they would have to expend more resources retaking them again. However, time and reinforcements favored the Allies because as the battle rages, General Montgomery pushes further north, and Allied airborne divisions parachute down to reinforce American and British lines. These reinforcements would not be used in this battle, though, as during the night of September 17th, German soldiers withdrew from the area. The Germans would repeat this tactic throughout the Italian theater of the war, making the Allies pay a heavy price as they made their push to Rome. By the end of the battle, the Allies suffered about 12,560 casualties, compared to the Germans only suffering about 4,000 casualties. The Allies, however, gained valuable experience about amphibious invasions and learning how to fight the Germans in Europe, and this will be pivotal when they launched Operation Overlord on June 6, 1944, and stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, beginning their push to Berlin. Thank you.